Welcome back to War is Stupid, an anti-war podcast about war. I am Orli Matlow, a Canadian comedian living in New York, and I'm excited to welcome a Jordanian comedian living in Canada. So we're going to talk about Toronto, and you're going to tell me cool things to do there, because I haven't lived there in 14 years, which is wild. And whenever I talk to comics and they ask for advice, I keep saying like, I was a dweeb growing up, so you could go up to Yorkdale. There are two subway lines, but one of them does take you directly to the mall. So please,
This is true.
yes, coming from the land of Yorkdale, welcome Nour Hadidi.
Thank you. Woohoo. I don't think I've ever been associated with the Yorkdale Mall,
Yeah.
but it feels right.
Yes, are you closer? Are you more of an Eaton Center girl?
Yeah, because I live in downtown Toronto, so it's a lot closer. I have to get on the subway and it takes me so long to get to Yorkdale. But I do try to avoid the mall. I just feel like, I don't know if you feel the same way, but the older I get, the less I'm able to handle like big places with huge amounts of people. I don't know why. It just overwhelms me, and I like to go on like a Monday or a Tuesday when I know it's going to be emptier than usual.
Yeah, I feel I have like COVID onset agoraphobia, I think. Like, or just in terms of like busy spaces and stuff. Like, I still wear masks in movie theaters and theaters and comedy shows, also because I don't want to, as a comic myself, whenever I'm on stage, I'm such a pity laugher that I put on a mask, so the comics on stage don't notice that I'm just like pity laughing, because I can't handle the silence.
Aw. That's so supportive of you. You're a better person than I am. I am at the point where I physically cannot, there are times where I physically cannot watch comedy.
Yes.
I have to like leave the room, and then when it's my time to go on, I'll go. But you're out here watching the whole show and laughing, filling in the silences. You're doing the Lord's work, Orly.
Oh, thank you. That, or I'm also like giving men false confidence and encouraging them. So it could backfire.
This is true. This is true. You could give a man the confidence to start a podcast, which we don't need more of.
No,
So you do have to be careful with who you're laughing for.
it's a slippery slope. But we're here to talk.
It really is.
Our myth today is there will always be wars, question mark. And
Hmm.
I'm so grateful that you pitched that one, and also pitched it last week before the ceasefire. So today is a big day. It is not only Canadian Thanksgiving, happy Thanksgiving, second Monday in October. It's Canadian Thanksgiving. It's Indigenous Peoples Day / Columbus Day, depending on if you're in red America or blue America or purple America. It's dealer's choice, I assume. And then it is also a
That's
day,
funny.
and it is the day that we're watching the prisoner exchange. So I want to read a tweet from Ori Goldberg, which I think really sums up what it feels like to be online today. Ori Goldberg, he says, how could a human being not be happy to see parents and spouses and children reunited with loved ones after 2 years of hell? How could a human being not be crushed seeing Palestinians sifting through the lunar rubble with their bare hands, looking for the lowliest remains? So it's just the whole like spectrum of the human experience has been on my feed this morning.
And you know what? I have been like, I'm a bit jealous of your ability to be like, this is what's happening today, and it's this and this and this. Like, I feel like I've been so broken by the past 2 years that online has really changed for me. Like, I think that I'm so numb when I go on my phone that it doesn't register. Like, I only registered today when you said
Oh,
it, of
wow.
like, oh, the human experience. And yeah, uh, I think we've all been through so much. Like, I was crying earlier this morning at just the realization that the ceasefire might be here, but there still has been no justice for any of the horrors and pain. I just feel like we've all been traumatized the past 2 years. And I was crying because I was so happy for Palestinians, but I know that the road ahead we still have so much work to do. And I think that was the emotion that was
Yeah.
coming out of me. So thank you for breaking it down and reminding us that it's Prisoner Exchange Day, and people are searching for. I know what you're talking about with the remains. Like, I saw this one post of someone who went back to a mass burial, and the IDF had exhumed the bodies
Oh,
from the mass grave. So it's just it's just there's, like you said, there's so many layers of injustice and pain to pull back on, even with this ceasefire.
yeah.
Sorry, that was a rant. You
No,
can cut
please.
that out. That was, yeah.
No, that's exactly what the pod is for. Thank you. Yeah, I am there. I'm going through like so many emotions, including like anger that it took this long, and that the same institutions, not to make this about me, but like the same people and institutions that have been calling me a Nazi for the last 2 years for saying hello, ceasefire for hostages, obviously are like celebrating today, as they should. But like there should be accountability for how they like ran cover for this government and made it take 2 years by carrying water for the very people who prevented it from happening. Like this could have happened 2 years ago, you absolute dummies.
And I think you made a really great point, which is the the fact that we were screaming for so long and being called names and being canceled, and our character was being assassinated. And it feels like sometime in late summer, I want to say July or August, is when the tides turned. And I don't know that people who have been shouting from the top of their lungs have mentally adjusted. Like, it's such a huge mental adjustment to go from no one's on our side, this all is on all our shoulders, and we're being gaslit, to now being in a state where everyone agrees that it's a genocide, and we were right the whole time. We were on the right side of history. It doesn't It's almost like I don't know what to do with myself. It's like the switch happened, but I'm not able to adjust as quickly as the world did, you know?
Oh, for sure. And I can only imagine the drama or internal battle, if they're capable of nuance, that like Trumpy, pro-war Trumpy people are now going through. Like the fact that it's Trump who said like, you're embarrassing me by bombing Qatar. Stop. Let's get this deal done. Like, yeah, the fact that, and in pursuit of the Nobel Peace Prize, like, I bet the pro-war militarist Trumpy people, it might take a while for them to catch up to the fact that, like, no, Donald Trump, come on, War is Stupid, an anti-war podcast about war.
You know, it would be so great if we could just say this is like a Trump thing. Like, I would love nothing more than that. But I think who was it? It was Eisenhower, Dwight Eisenhower, the US president, when he left office. He gave his farewell speech is really famous. And in it, he talks about the military industrial complex, and he called it the military congressional industrial complex. Like, he made sure that to use the word Congress in there.
Yeah, y'all are
And
implicated, like Congress.
yeah, and he was president in the 40s and 50s. Like, he left in the 50s, and for 75 years, these defense contractors have been running wild, and they just bought Congress, and they create wars for the sake of lining their pockets. This goes back to the 50s. So as lovely as it would be to like blame Trump or just the
Hmm.
Republicans, it's really hard for Americans to look themselves in the mirror truthfully for what they really are. But this is it. There's a whole industry behind it, behind manufacturing wars and behind killing people. Because besides that, what does America really have? It's like war and Hollywood, right? And then I guess cars, auto manufacturing, but it's like one of the most important industries in America.
And baseball is nominally the national pastime,
It's true.
but now Canadians might be taking that too. One of the four teams still standing in the MLB postseason is the Toronto Blue Jays. I'll make
The Blue
sure.
Jays.
Yeah, what I'll make sure we wrap up in time for the game at 5 because yeah, I've been
Oh,
all in on the postseason. Because yeah, life is so dreary. It might as well be baseball as
yeah, my experience as a comic in Canada is I've only ever had, like, whenever a team in a city I live in does well, it means my comedy show is going to be canceled.
oh
So,
yeah.
unfortunately, I have an unhealthy relationship with Canadian sports teams winning because no audience shows up for a comedy show. So, I feel like I'm in direct competition at all times with the Raptors, the Jays, the Leafs, and when I lived in Montreal, the
Oh
Canadians.
yeah, right. I guess the silver lining of the Leafs always flaming out come the playoff times is like, no, you'll be safe. Your shows will not get canceled in
Yeah,
June, at least
so funny.
as far as hockey season
If you date
goes.
If you date any man from Ontario, just know that you will never break his heart as much as the Maple Leafs
Yeah.
have, you know? For those of you who don't know, basically like it'll be 7 games and they'll be like 3-0 and then they'll lose the last 4 games. It's really, really sad and really upsetting.
Yeah, they show unconditional love though, which is
They
fascinating.
do.
Like if they could
It's true.
still love that team, then they might be able to love then they might be able to love you.
Babe, did you cheat on him? It's okay. You'll never let him down as much as the Leafs did. He
Yeah.
will take you back.
Ex-
That's so funny.
but military industrial complex. I did pull up some facts and figures. So
Okay.
so our question today, there will always be wars. There will be wars insofar as people are willing to pay for them. Like it's
Mhm.
it's it's not a spontaneous scrimmage. It takes
It's not like, yeah, completely. The way they phrase it, oh, there will always be war. It's like it's always gonna rain in Seattle or
yeah.
something. Like it's out of the man. It's not man-made. It's like out of our reach kind of thing. But I think it goes to speak to the power behind these companies and behind the machine. Like it's so hard to stand in its way that sometimes it's like, oh yeah, war will always exist. And go ahead. Yeah.
Oh no, yeah, that like it might as well be a natural disaster. But no, these are decisions
Mhm.
made by people when other decisions can be made. And we saw today with the prisoner exchange what
Mhm.
happens when other decisions are made. So we
Yeah, I think human nature is not, people always want to be like, it's just human nature to get into wars and kill each other. And I don't agree. I think it's such a colonial way of looking at things. I do think most people are good and most people want the best for their fellow man. It's just that when people get power and money, they want to keep the status quo going, and that's what happens. And and what pisses me off, because I grew up in the Middle East, I grew up in Jordan, and what pisses me off, especially this was happening when the Ukraine war was happening, I was having conversations with people and they didn't want to hear that there was other wars happening in the Middle East while the Ukraine war was happening. They were like, we need to focus on this. This could be World War III. There's always been a war in the Middle East, but this could be World War III. And it's like, you're making my point. Like, do you know how incredibly racist that is? To be like, oh, well, brown people will always be dying. So what does it matter? We need to look at the white Europeans dying right now. That's what matters. Because the world cares more about white lives. And so it could be World War III and it could be nuclear and we could all die because you don't realize white lives matter more. And it's like the Middle East would be peaceful if it weren't for all America's interceptions and meddling in the region. Like it's all these proxy wars through Iran, Russia, the US. Like everyone wants to play in the Middle East. No one wants to bring the fight home, but everyone wants to play. And it's like been normalized tragedy almost. Oh, Sudan. Oh, Gaza. Oh, Yemen. It's like we're people too. We're human beings. We don't want war. We are very peaceful people. Like we're Muslims, we just keep to ourselves. We help each other out. Like if anyone were to come and visit Jordan, they would see the true face of Islam and the true face of the Middle East, which is just people who want to live and people who are very kind and will give you the shirt off their back if you need it. Like Arab hospitality is not some made up thing. It's real.
And good food. I want to make sure that people listening to this don't sleep on the food.
This is true.
Yeah, has like the hum of war and violence that people just treat like the weather. Like, was that part of your childhood growing up in Jordan?
Well, I would say there were two specific wars that were part of my upbringing. The first is the occupation of the West Bank and Gaza. In particular, if there's any Arabs listening, there is this one kid, his name is Muhammad al-Durra, and we all saw him get killed in Gaza by the IDF when he was our age. And it was a huge deal. It was a huge thing. And I just remember I was in elementary school and it's not normal for you to see a kid who looks like you be shot on TV and to see people who look like you under military occupation. Like the only face of Judaism I saw growing up was the occupation in the West Bank. So, and that is a conflict that has reverberated through every aspect of my life. Because I grew up in Jordan, people don't know this, but the population of Jordan, around 70%, are Palestinians who came to Jordan in 1948 when the State of Israel was created, and in 1967 after the Six-Day War. So, and one of my closest friends, his family was booted from Jerusalem. And a lot of these grandparents still have the keys to their homes in Palestine.
Wow.
So I would say that was a conflict where it was like growing up. And then when I was in high school was when the US invaded Iraq. And that was really horrible. Not only did Jordan have an influx of Iraqi refugees who could not work, who were just, they were just there trying to survive. You saw like 1 million Iraqis died. And I remember like a presentation in the 10th grade by each class. You know how you have home ec?
Homeroom.
Like, yeah. So each homeroom was to make a presentation to the school. And then one of the homerooms did a presentation on the torture of Iraqis in US prisons in Iraq. And like, it was traumatizing. And I don't think that it's not normal. Like now that like I'm grown up, I see how crazy it was. But back then I was just like, oh, this is life. This is what it is. But I don't think people realize how privileged they are to live in North America or Europe, where governments can like engage in these wars overseas and they don't feel the repercussions of it.
Yeah, I wish I could say that we're that was still true, because right now we're seeing American troops on the streets of American cities, which you have one of my favorite jokes about. Just yeah,
Thank you. That's so nice. What's the joke? It's when oh, hold on. I'm trying to remember. I haven't done it in a while.
it's it's the tag is like, oh, does Atlanta have oil?
Yeah. Oh, it was about when the Black Lives Matter protests were happening, a lot of Americans, like the National Guard was deployed, right? And a lot of Americans, they didn't want the US military in their city. And I say, well, no one wants the US military in
Yeah,
their city. It's just something you have to live with, you know? It was the first time I saw the American army inside America. Like that is true.
yeah,
And I was like, what is happening? Does Atlanta have oil?
yeah.
Was the joke. But it's almost like, wait, I've never seen you like at the Capitol or in DC. What are you doing here? Like, isn't there a country full of brown or black people you should be invading or stealing their resources right now? Like, what's up? What are you doing here?
Yeah, that's what's so interesting. We'll see how like this plays out, because like people enlisted to. Can you imagine like enlisting, thinking you're going to go on this great adventure, get to cosplay some of your favorite World War II movies, and then you get sent to Oregon?
Okay, so incredible that you brought that up because World War II, how many more movies can we make
Yeah.
about World War II? We're done. We're good. We're good. Let's move on to another conflict, you know? It's it's glorified, and I think we all need to be really aware of the role film and TV has on whitewashing the US military's actions, consequences, and image. Because until this very day, if someone in America is like, I'm in the military, most people's reactions are, oh, that's so cool. You're in
Thank
the
you for your
military.
service. Yeah.
Yes. And it's like, no, you're just saying that because of the Hollywood films you've seen. This is horrible. When you enter the military, you are dehumanized as a person. You're not a person anymore. You're a number, right? And you're taught that you need to keep going forward, like in combat. Let's say you shoot someone, you got to keep, and it's like, it's not normal. It's not, we're so removed from our humanity in that environment, in the military environment. And I think we should abolish all militaries. Truly, I think there should be no weapons manufacturers. Why make a grenade? Why even make a bullet? Is my question or my thing. And I know that people be like, "Oh, she's naive," but I just genuinely think that we can live in a world with no guns and no bombs and no war. I really do believe that is possible.
Yeah, absolutely. You're on the right podcast, because the reason why I started this podcast was because I was so sick of people saying that like war is the smart and sensible thing to do, but like everything has been proven otherwise in my lifetime. Like, and we now all agree that the Iraq War was stupid and bad. That hasn't, even though like the people responsible for it haven't been prosecuted and are just like happily rebranded as talking heads on cable news. But yeah, in our lifetime, America hasn't won a war, and the current ceasefire is just a tacit admission that no, it didn't work. War, like the hostages are home because they said, "Fine, the war is over." It didn't bring the hostages home. It killed more hostages than it saved.
No one, I think we all need to realize that people in power do not care about human life, humanity, or individuals other than themselves. And so when you are out here fighting for hostages to come home under the banner of Israel, Israel doesn't care about this Israeli government. And I don't know. I'm going to ruffle a lot of feathers here, Orly. I'm just going to say what
Ooh,
I think and feel.
please,
Yeah.
no, that's the point. And also, I'm sure
Okay.
I won't be new to listeners of War is Stupid, an anti-war podcast about war.
Okay, great. Um, I just think that Zionism as an ideology has been sold to a lot of people as though it's the right of self determination of Jewish people to have a homeland and to be safe after the Holocaust. But if you look at the readings of early Zionist writers and leaders, this is not the case. They knew that there was an indigenous population that needed to be ethnically cleansed, and they called it building an iron wall. They knew that they had to erect it through violence and maintain it through violence. And they were
Yeah,
okay with about
fucking Zev Jabotinsky coins the
Jabotinsky.
phrase. Yeah.
Yes, Jabot. I didn't want to say his name wrong. Thank you for saying his name. Exactly. I've been learning a lot from a Instagram page called Truth from Eretz Israel, run by an like anti-Zionist Israeli Jew, and it's been so illuminating to just read their own words, like word for word, and to see how it's bled through the past 80 years. And so back in the 50s, so as we know, in 1948, a lot of the Arabs were ethnically cleansed and pushed into what is now the Gaza Strip. Most of them did not live there, right? But to create Israel, they pushed all the Arabs out. Oh, sorry, not Arabs, Palestinians out. I can't be out here erasing their identity as well. But English is my second language, so sometimes I use words interchangeably, but I have to be really careful about it. Like, I don't say Middle East anymore. I say Arab world because Middle East is a colonial term coined by Britain
Oh,
in
that's so
relation to
interesting.
where the Arab world is relative to London, England. So I try to say Arab world as much as I can.
Classic
But
British main
and
character energy, even, yeah, extends to geography.
seriously, yeah, like we still have them on our money here in Canada.
Yeah, ew.
You know, and for a little time there, Prince Harry lived in Canada, so he was using money that his grandmother's face was on, which I
Yeah.
find really funny. But if we need to look at Zionism and as the reality it is on the ground, and not the hope, not the lovely version that's been sold to us or to a lot of people. And so Zionism had no choice but to get to this point, in my humble opinion. And it's gotten through. There used to be a sense of reality. I remember in the 50s, there was an IDF soldier who was lured and killed, kind of like where Israel ended and Gaza began. But it was understood if, I should have brought the facts with me. I do apologize, Orly, but there was this soldier in the army who. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I don't, but
You
we
don't
could
know what I'm
also
talking.
take a second if you want to like bring up a page or something.
I wouldn't know where to find it
Oh, yeah.
because it was from this rabbit hole where this like super pro-Zionist person posted or like I found something and then I went on there and then it was their propaganda page and then I found a name on their propaganda page and I Googled the name and then the name gave me the speech he gave. But all this to say is that back then they understood, they were like, yes, this is the corner of Israel and we expect this to happen. And it seems that from the 50s until now, there's been an overhaul in the overall thinking of Zionists living in that area. And they've been told that they're peaceful and the Arabs hate them and they want to kill them and Israel's always defending itself. And it's not true. Like people growing up in Israel are brainwashed in a cult. Even their education, there's nothing being taught about non-Ashkenazi Jewish history. Like they're only taught history from that one perspective. Like there's only 7 pages in the high school curriculum about non-European Jewish history. And we all need to remember that it is an Ashkenazi-led movement. This is a white European settler colony in the Middle East. And there is no such thing as a peaceful settler colony. A settler colony will only, that's why they only understand the language of violence, guns, subjugation, humiliation. It's the only thing they respond to. That's why so many peaceful protests by the Palestinians have been met with that violence, like the Great March of Return, when they walked around Gaza and were sniped in their knees. Purposely, IDF snipers sniped peaceful marchers in their knees so that they wouldn't be able to walk again. And so when you look at the history of this specific settler colony, you'll realize that there can be no two-state solution because they will not adhere to any lines, rules, ceasefire, anything. We need to dismantle this Zionist system. We are not calling for the death or injury of any Jewish people, but we need to understand the responsibility that these Jewish people are taking by being settlers in a settler colony. Yes, they're brainwashed. Yes, they believe that the land is theirs, but they have a hand in upholding it and maintaining it.
And what does it look like? So it's a lot of people, I wonder if it's still the case, but argue that like, oh, free Palestine, that means ethnic cleansing, which, sir, when you say Am Yisrael Chai, does that mean kill Palestinians? Like, if not a two-state solution, are you a one-stater, binational stater?
Personally, I think that Palestinians are the only ones who should dictate what it's going to look like. I think it would be presumptuous for me. I personally would love a one state where everyone has equal rights. But do Palestinians want to live right next door to people who killed them and want them dead? That's their choice. It is their history and their story, and they're the ones who get to write it. And I think we should be taking our cues from them. And I really, really love reading anything written by Diana Batu and Suzanne Abulhawa. I think they're both incredible Palestinian women, thinkers, thought leaders, and it's people like that who we need to listen to when it comes to figuring out what the future looks like.
Yeah, it's crazy how novel an idea is. Listen to Palestinians about Palestine is. Like,
yeah,
like I got just for another example. We'll see what happens. You know, you never know. But the fact that like Trump came out and said like, "Fuck yeah, let's put Tony Blair, the Iraq War guy, in charge of Gaza," and it's like, does that the bombs will stop falling, but.
You know, it feels like the elite, like Condoleezza Rice recently did an interview, and she said that Palestinians need to stop teaching their children hate. And it's like, do you live in the same world we do, Condoleezza Rice? They're not teaching them hate.
She's the one who killed a million Iraqis. Yeah. Speaking of hate,
whenever they interview one of these talking heads, they should have in their intro like their name and then how many brown people they killed right under. So, do you know what I mean? Like Hillary Clinton, how many brown deaths have you been responsible for? And why are you a qualified person to tell us about brown lives? Like tell us more, Condoleezza Rice.
So would you say that they're not morally pure arbiters of peace and good sense?
And you know what? The past 2 years, like, I'm done listening to anyone. I'm done. I don't care who you are, what you've done. Look at Malala. Like, Malala only spoke up 2 years in after it was okay to do so. I don't trust anyone anymore.
Oh, interesting.
I think Malala is like, makes white liberals feel good about themselves. You know, she's not here to disrupt the status quo. Greta Thunberg is who we all think Malala is.
Ooh.
Mm-hmm. She's out here putting her body on the line. She's saying the truth. She's calling it what it is. She's saying the world hasn't responded to Gaza because of racism. Has Malala said anything like that? No, she just put out like shitty statement 2 years in, and she's not really doing anything.
And this is kind of funny. She's on a press tour right now selling a new book, and there's a headline in The Guardian that's like, how a bong changed my life. Why doing hits from a bong brought back memories of being shot from the Taliban. It's just like a bonkers sequence of words.
It's like a white person's wet dream. It's like a white liberal's wet dream. Oh, Malala hit a bong, and that's reminded her of her trauma from the Taliban? Like, fuck off.
Malala
I'm sorry.
can hang.
Yeah, Malala can hang. She's invited to the Who concert. Like, shut up.
But speaking.
By the way, I don't know why I shot on the Who. I do love the Who. Sorry, I have to take that back. I saw the Who recently, and it was amazing.
Oh, that's so fun.
Maybe Creed. I should have gone with a Nickelback or something.
Exactly. Being Canadian, it puts us in the unfortunate position of just having to defend Nickelback for.
How do you think I feel about the whole Drake Kendrick situation? I live in Toronto.
I know. I've joked though that like I hate Drake not in spite of being from Toronto, but because of it. Because it's funny, I grew up in Forest Hill. Like I grew up at Bathurst and Eglinton, so I can confirm that he did not start from the bottom. That he is.
Ooh, okay.
Is a spicy take. Like
Forest Hill's a nice neighborhood.
Yeah, it's beautiful, and you don't have to come from struggle to be an artist, but don't lie about it.
Mm-hmm. Started from the middle class, now we're here.
Exactly. Or started in Toronto and then got my Aliens of Extraordinary Ability visa to live and work in the United States. Now we're here. That's no small feat to navigate the American immigration bureaucracy. He should have led with that.
It's true. I mean, there's a comedian named Pat Bircher. Maybe I'll introduce you to him. He's really lovely. Do you know him?
Not yet.
He lives in New York, but he's from Canada. And he has a great joke about, I already forgot. What were we saying? I'm so sorry.
Drake.
This happens to me.
No worries.
Drake. Oh, he has a great joke about how he got a green card from the U.S. government. So he's government certified funny because he moved there as a comedian. So, yeah, that's a great bit he has.
Yeah, I'm on an O1 here in the States. It's like every time I feel like I'm not doing enough, I'm successful enough, maybe not to me or my parents, but according to the Department of Homeland Security.
Babe, you're set. What are you talking about?
Oh, thank you.
When did you get your O1?
I'm on my third renewal now, actually. So I came down to the States for college, so F1, and then 1 year, and then so I've been renewing it every 3 years until I fall in love, I guess.
Nice. I love that for you.
Oh, thank you. I'm renewed through 2028, so there's no pressure on the love front in that regard. But my older sister is living the. Exactly. Shout out to my older sister. Got her permanent resident card because she fell in love.
Fell in love.
And
congratulations.
Legitimately wasn't just for the green card.
Do you find it hard? Because what is New York like to date as a female comic? Because Toronto is a nightmare.
Oh my gosh, here it's an absolute nightmare as well. I get the same. I haven't been on a date since before October 7th.
Nice.
Yeah.
Solidarity.
Thank you. I did do a video. There was this influencer who went to a pro-Israel rally with a sign that said, "I'm single." And I stitched it with like, "Girl, how are you horny right now?" Like,
I saw that.
Yeah, like I haven't been horny since October 6th. But the worst is, on dates, they're like, "Oh, are you going to put me in your stand-up?"
Oh, I hate that line. I hate it.
And then,
so are you going to put this in your materials?
And it's like, dude,
no, who are you?
You overestimate how interesting you are. Like,
Yes.
Sir, you are a software engineer at a financial services company. Like, I do not want to bore the audience
Seriously.
as much as you're boring me.
That's so funny.
Yeah,
Orly, this is I have IBS, so I have to really quickly, like a minute or two, run to the washroom, but I will be right back.
absolutely.
Okay? Yeah, it is what it is. IBS is just one of those things where it's chronic and I'm gonna have to live with it and just learn to eat better. Last night I got high and I had two cheeseburgers and fries and a pop, and I shouldn't have, and I know I shouldn't have, but I did it anyways. And you can keep this in the
Yeah,
podcast,
that's
okay?
fun.
The people, yeah, this is who I am, okay? I know I'm gonna pay for it the next day. Your girl, I could have ordered a salad. I just wanted a burger and fries, okay?
Also, I do love like IBS is a great equalizer between Muslims and Jews as well. Much like, yeah, not eating pork. Like we
My best friend, yeah. Sorry, go ahead. I keep interrupting you, Orly. Please go ahead.
no, you're not. Don't worry. But also, it's just all the more proof that we are more alike than we are different. Quite like literally deep inside.
My best friend is Jewish. Her grandparents died in the Holocaust, and one of the things that binds our friendship together is how much time both of us spend in the washroom. And you know what? Maybe this is TMI for some people. We FaceTime each other from the washroom. I don't know if
Oh,
you're the type of person who does that. I have no qualms about FaceTiming from the washroom. Truly.
oh, that's so sweet. Sometimes my mom does call me, and I don't want her to freak out. Like if I don't answer the phone, like she'll think I'm like so. I will open up. Like you might hear a plop. Like,
It's so funny. My sister makes me hang up the phone. She doesn't want to see or hear anything to do with the washroom. She'll get really upset, actually. She'll be like, "This is disgusting. Why are you doing this?" I don't have a problem with it, you know? So, to all those people who are judged for picking up in the while you're on the toilet, I got you.
yeah, no solidarity. And it's funny.
Solidarity.
I was just at my sister's in California for Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, and she had a baby, which is exciting, which also means a lot of pee and poop talk, which it's hard to turn it off. So like once there's a baby around and you're just like, oh, he made a big poop, like, oh, he
Oh.
smells, and then I'm with my parents and I'm like, I gotta go take a shit, and it's not cute anymore. When you turn 31
Yeah.
and no one
We need
applauds you.
we need to bring back the applause. Absolutely.
Yeah, so I'm proud of you.
Thank you. Thank you, babe.
I do want to talk about Greta just as a seg, and to tell me about your trip to Egypt. I'd love to hear about your
Oh,
trip.
sure. So, I went on the global march to Gaza in June because I felt like I had to. It was a couple days after the Madeleine was intercepted. And the point of the global march was to have the Madeleine and then the Sumud convoy, which was driving from Tunisia and Libya, and they were going to drive. And then the global march, we were going to march, and we were all going to simultaneously try and break the siege on Gaza. And the reason I went was because I felt like I had to do something. Because for 2023 and a lot of 2024, I don't know if you had this or anyone else felt this way, but I just felt like, what if we all go there? What if we just all go there and physically stop this? Like, that was a recurring thought I kept having. And when I saw the posts for the global march, like, I don't know, something hit me and I wanted to go. And then luckily I was able to get time off work. So things just aligned. It happened. And I head to Cairo with the Canadian delegation. There were over 100 of us from Canada.
Wow.
And it was open. And more people wanted to come, but they just didn't have the capacity to process people. Like, I know my sister wanted to come and my podcast producer Yusuf wanted to come, but there was just, they were so overwhelmed and they wanted to try and keep everyone safe. And it was planned in a really short period of time. And these people were all volunteering their time while also having day jobs and families and running everything and doing this. And so we head to Cairo, and the plan was to head to the Rafah border the next day. And when the Canadian delegation started this, they only thought they'd get 20 people. Like, they did not expect the numbers that they got. So we were to meet in Cairo, and then the next day we were to head to the Rafah border, which is what happened. And we had gone to different embassies, all Egyptian embassies all around the world, and shared our plan, our everything with them, and we got positive responses. And so that's why I think when we went there, we were really shocked by the level of violence that we were met with for simply just being peaceful marchers trying to bring awareness and bring media attention to the fact that Gaza was under siege since March. So in March 2025, the Israeli government stopped literally anything entering Gaza. Even though it was limited before, it was a new level. It was a new level. And that's why, like in May, we were seeing all these photos and videos of people collapsing on the streets, people literally dying of hunger. It's 2 million people trapped in a concentration camp, being starved to death and bombed to death. And I think, I can't speak for anyone else, but for me, I think I went because well, number one, I wanted to make a difference. I wanted them to feel less alone. And there are some people I messaged with in Gaza, and they thanked me for coming, and a lot of people were shocked. They couldn't believe that 4,000 white people traveled from all over the world just to try and get them something to eat. Like, I think this psychological warfare that Israel uses against Palestinians, part of it is making them feel really alone and isolated. And at the end of the day, the most important reason I went is because I think human life is worth more than a single dollar.
Absolutely.
There's a lot of people.
A loony or a toonie.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's a lot of, like, the report that Francesca put out showed the economy of genocide, and she named people, named names, named companies benefiting from the literal genocide of the Palestinian people. And I think for 4,000 people to show up is to say, these systems are wrong. We live under these systems because we have to. It doesn't mean we're happy doing it. It is absolutely wrong and inhumane. And at the end of the day, I just know that if I was going through something, I would want people to stand up for me and help me. And we were all ordinary people. These are people who were like retired, or like they had families and kids and jobs, and they just put everything aside because they felt so passionately about our collective humanity.
It's nice to know that there are at least 4,000 good people out there.
There's a lot more.
Yeah. When you say you were met with violence, it was the Egyptian military, or?
Yes. So the Egyptian and they were in plain clothes. Like, Egypt's security apparatus is really harsh. And I knew that because I grew up in the Middle East, I knew that Egypt was a military dictatorship that, just like Israel, Egypt places no value on my life. They do not care about me. I knew that going there with my Canadian passport, that I had this like protection around me, where Egypt was not going to dare do something to a Canadian citizen. And I knew that a lot of people from Egypt wanted to do the things that we were doing, but they're just not able to.
Wow.
Because Sisi is horrible. He is just a horrible dictator, and he has imprisoned and killed so many people like it's nothing.
I do want to hear more about Sisi, because it came up today. Trump is in Egypt for the signing and said he did a bit about yeah, you guys got good police forces out here, and then American activists were like, that is scary.
Yes.
So for people who don't know anything about the Egyptian security
So what
forces,
happened was the Arab Spring happened around 2012, and Egypt had a president, but he had kept getting reelected for over 30 years. His name was Hosni Mubarak, and he was tight. But the last years of his dictatorship, he kind of loosened the reins a lot. You know, he was chill. So it created an opening wide enough for people to create change. So they ousted him, and then they elected the Muslim Brotherhood. I don't know if you remember, his name is Mursi. The leader's name was Mursi. And Mursi, so people don't know this, but Hamas is an offshoot of the Muslim Brotherhood. So when the Muslim Brotherhood was in charge, they opened the gates of Gaza. Everyone from Gaza could come in and out of Egypt. They could study, they could travel. They treated them as human beings. And then what happened was Sisi was really smart. He pretended to support the Muslim Brotherhood and that he was going to be he was the top military guy and that he was going to support them. And then all of a sudden he just organized a coup, threw all the Muslim Brotherhood figures in prison, and now runs Egypt with an iron fist. And Egypt has been really economically struggling. I was shocked. I hadn't been since high school because I went on a pyramids trip for high school and for my
cute.
history class. And yeah, but people are so broke. People can't feed their kids. Every Uber driver I got in with, this was his second or third job. People can't feed their kids. And Sisi, when he goes up and he gives speeches, he's like, okay, then just stop eating a few things. Stop buying this at the grocery. He doesn't give a shit about his own people. And he spent billions of dollars building this diplomatic city in Cairo. It's all these new buildings, and the government's there. And if anyone comes to visit, that's where they're going to stay. And his wife is in all this expensive jewelry. And he's just a horrible fascist military dictator, and it's worse than Hosni Mubarak right now. They will, if you say, you can't even say a peep. You can't say a peep. It's almost like the Egyptians I spoke to, they feel more defeated because at least when they ousted Hosni Mubarak, they felt oh, there's this we're hopeful, we're going to have democracy. And all their hopes and dreams were shattered. Right now, Tahrir Square, which is in downtown Cairo, where all the protests happened, there's a lot of plainclothed Egyptian military keeping an eye on things. You're not allowed to because that's where all the thinkers are, educated people at coffee shops who are well versed in history and politics and philosophy. That's where they meet up, and then the police have detectives in all these coffee shops to keep an eye on people and to make sure no one's gonna overthrow Sisi, basically. And it was really hard. I felt really bad for a lot of Egyptian people who are basically struggling to make ends meet. It was really disheartening.
Yeah, damn, that's devastating. That's yeah, what comes after the revolution, it fades away from the headlines. So I admittedly know nothing about.
I believe that they're going to have freedom again. You can only oppress people so much until they burst. You know, human rights and equality, they're always going to beat oppression. People's will to be free is more powerful than any military threat or violence or level of fear, So, and that's why that's what's helped me keep going the past 2 years, is knowing we're on the right side of history in Gaza, that all empires fall, and that Palestinian people will be free one day. I don't know when, but I truly believe they will be free because that is the natural order of things.
Yeah, I know you weren't deliberately quoting Hamilton But even in
Oh,
Hamilton,
no.
yeah, and it was somewhere people don't expect. Even in Hamilton, you have the king sings "Oceans rise, empires fall," like the natural ebb and flow of history. Um,
And like past 2 years even made me hate Hamlet because now I see it as American propaganda. Like it's so hard to exist in this world now and not see through all the bullshit and the propaganda. Even the Fantastic Four film, I was like,
oh
fuck
my God,
this.
yeah.
Yeah. As if the US government would let four people who came back from space be in charge and not interrogate them. And you know what I mean? It's just so, it's, yeah.
Did you see the new Superman movie? Because that was an interesting discourse. Because people thought it was an analogy for Gaza, and that
Oh,
like
I
it was you
haven't.
see, it's fascinating. There's quite literally, yeah, a U.S. backed, yeah, U.S. backed military like swarms on defenseless, besieged people. And everyone's like, oh my God, I
Wow.
can't believe, yes, Superman went there. But I don't know if it deserves credit because James Gunn, the filmmaker, was like, oh, I don't know. We just had some technical difficulties. So I think all of the money that is invested into weapons infrastructure should be go towards better Wi-Fi. Like I'm all about scientific advancement,
Yes.
but if it's in service of bringing us together as opposed to
Hmm.
blowing people up, because I do want to,
Oh my gosh.
yeah,
Think of all the wonderful things we could do for the world with that money that is spent on war.
exactly. And I have the exact figures. So the Cost of War Project at Brown University just released a report. So it says in the 2 years since the October 7th, 2023 Hamas attack on Israel, the US government, so this is just the US, not Canada, Europe, spent $21.7 billion on military aid to Israel, an additional 9.65 to 12.07 billion on military operations in Yemen and the wider region since October 7th, for a total of 31.35 to 33.77 billion dollars and counting in US spending on the post October 7th wars. So you used to work in finance. Is that a lot of money?
I'll have to check with some people, but and go back to the drawing board. But overall, I would say yes, that is a lot of money, a lot of zeros on the right, not the
Yeah, I can't
left.
even imagine.
And yeah, just I wish women were in charge of the world,
I
because
it depends on
we're
the
so much better
women.
at budgeting.
Yeah.
That's true. No Condoleezza Rice or
Yeah.
Hillary Clinton.
But we,
Like Greta, Francesca, cool women, smart women who are good and don't care about power and ego.
I know, eh? That's the most stressful part is that like people who don't care about power never get to be in power. It's like it feels like a riddle.
Yes. It's almost like if you don't want power because it doesn't fulfill you in any way, you go about your life just being a regular person and helping people around you. And it's the ones who want power and it feeds them and they get it. And then it makes them feel a way about themselves that they then take out on the rest of us.
But in the era of podcasting, like just start a podcast. Like you don't need to seize control of a government in order to feel powerful.
Someone, oh my God. You know what we should do? Richie Torres, we need to start a podcast. He needs to start a podcast. Just get him busy.
That's what he wants to do anyway. Like I don't know if he's been back to his district in 2 years or if he's just been to Israel.
Did you see that video where someone's like talking to him and they're like, truthfully, I think you could be the new face of the progressive movement in America. And he's sitting there believing it. And I'm like, you're both literally insane. You're both insane.
And also, like, that's so embarrassing for both parties, including, like, that's racist. Like, just because someone's Black and gay doesn't mean they're progressive.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, just because someone's...
In fact, if you're a politician or a cop, that supersedes everything else about you. Okay? So I have a friend named Graham. He has these two friends in where he lives, and they're both gay, but they're cops.
Oh.
So I said, they're cops first, gay second. Yes, Richie Torres is an AIPAC congressman first, Black and gay second. Yeah.
Oh, gay cops, and not in the village people sexy stripper sense.
Not ironically.
Yeah.
They're seriously, legitimately cops. Yeah.
Wow. But
yeah.
Thank you so much for coming on the pod. I want to make sure we wrap before either the internet conks out or in time to be able to watch the Jays game, which thankfully I believe it's at 5. So if you have a show tonight, like there's no 5, or I guess baseball games are 3 hours, so who knows?
Yeah.
But thank you for.
But I don't have a show tonight, so don't worry. I can. This game can go on as long as it needs to.
Yeah, the last Seattle game before yesterday, like, went to the 15th inning, which is bonkers. So it's like, got to carve out the rest of our lives just in case.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
But thank you. Where can people find you?
I'm on Instagram at Nour Hadidi, and you can check out my podcast, the Nour Hadidi podcast, where it's kind of in a similar vein to yours, but it's also different. It's about talking to artists who are trying to bring about change in the world through their art. So it's been focused on Gaza. Like I only started this podcast earlier this year. And so far, all my guests, it's just been about, because that's what feels the most important to talk about. So it's looking at Gaza through the lens of art and creation.
That's amazing. And yeah, now, they say comedy is tragedy plus time. And so we've had a lot of tragedy. So we'll see what happens now. Hopefully there's a little bit of little bit of time.
But also remember that there could be more tragedy right around the corner. So stay vigilant, people. You never know when the next thing's going to hit you. And this is something that I guess that you've had on, who I had on, Etheria Koob, told me on my podcast, is that everything we do is in defiance of Israel. So taking care of yourself, even though there's all this tragedy and all this horror that we don't want to deal with, and it's bringing us down, you have to act in defiance of that, to take care of yourself, because that's the only way forward. So it's not my words, they're recycled words from someone you've heard from in the past, but it was very helpful to me. So just a little, I don't know, like sprinkle of hope at the end of the pod.
Yes, I haven't had her yet, but we're recording next week, which I'm looking forward to.
Okay.
No worries. So if you want to hear a theory, you should listen to the Nour Hadidi podcast.
Oh no, see, I thought she had already done it, because she's my friend and we talk. Maybe I misunderstood her. But,
no worries. But we just haven't recorded
I'm sorry.
yet.
Okay.
No,
Okay.
So I'm not preempting anything, and you guys can listen to her now on your pod.
Thank you. That's so nice of you.
And don't check out. Everyone's developed these habits that, whether it's connections with movements or like journalists and people like Francesca, people you like and support, like, just because they say it's over now, A, doesn't mean that it's over, and B, that it's okay to check out. So Yeah, I'm glad you reminded us of that, because the second the second George Bush stands on an aircraft carrier and says mission accomplished, turns out that was not in fact the case. It's an ongoing struggle to make a better world. And again, I'm grateful to meet you, and to hope to meet you in person next time I'm
Likewise.
home.
Yes, please reach out. And if I am ever in New York, I will let you know. And thank you because I know a lot of my Jewish friends want to speak out, but they're afraid to because of the relationships they'll lose. Their families will shun them, stop talking to them. So I just want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for using your voice and speaking out.
Thank you so much. Now I'm gonna cry. And
Oh no. Well, we'll cry together.
exactly, beautiful. And we'll cry in the bathroom. I'll FaceTime you from the toilet. Now that I know it's
Yes.
allowed.
FaceTime me from the toilet. Yes.
Thank you for listening and or watching War is Stupid, an anti-war podcast about war. Please subscribe, rate and review. Tell your dads. We'll see you next time.